Happy Halloween. Actually, when I'm filming this, it's Halloween. When you're seeing this, it's like November 2nd. I don't know. Because I didn't have. Ryan just randomly on Sundays like, hey, can I film a video? And I'm like, sure. And then he was dressed up in a Halloween costume. Like, oh, okay. He's just planned stuff. And I'm like, well, I'll edit it. Sure. And it's a really fun video. And if you didn't know, so here's the thumbnail. And this is Ryan in a Shrek outfit. And Donna's in it. And Donna's not in the video, so sorry for the clickbait. But for those who don't know or who haven't been here for a minute, when we got the kittens, Donna's original name was Donkey from Shrek. So this is just the best couple's costume you could ever see. Anyways, he actually sets TBRs and finishes them, so he finally read all the books he bought 2 years ago, and he talked about it in that video. So that all said, happy Halloween. I'm really excited to do my first trick-or-treating today. It's I presumably it went well. We'll find out. But also in happy just life update news, I guess we'll just do a mini life update real quick right here. And then we'll get into all these lovely books around me. But I've been having sitting issues since September. It's been really obnoxious. And I went to go see a doctor who because I went for back pain because it was presenting in lower back, although it was weird because I wouldn't even say it was back pain. I just couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I couldn't sit. It was weird. And it wasn't getting better. And so then he recommended I go see a physical therapist. And once I found someone I could afford, which, just means it's not $500 a session. It's $100 a session because healthcare. Regardless, we've gotten to the point where I need medical help regardless. And apparently it's maybe a hamstring thing, with a tendon. And so I'm just working through that, but that's saying I'm getting better at adapting and being able to sit and do things. And I think I'm healing. It's a combination of both. So that said, I'm very excited about all the books I have to read. I have some, I think 4 of these books I'm fairly confident I'm going to read. And then the other, 6, I'm maybe. We'll see. The first one, this is if the world goes upside down and I only read one thing this month, it's this book. And that is The Lotus Empire by Tasha Sori. This is the 3rd and final book in the Burning Kingdoms trilogy, which I love and I shout about all the time. So, 3rd book. This is kind of, in some ways, a very standard fantasy trilogy in that it's political, changing of regimes. Also, it's got magic coming back. And maybe it's not great that it's coming back. And what are the consequences? And also, how do the gods exist with the land and with the people? And how does that play into our conflicts of power dynamics? And it's so good. And our main 3 female characters are just... They're so well grounded in their motivations and their agendas and what they choose to do. And all of them are in places where I am stressed. I am so stressed. So I'm ready, but I'm also not ready. I got this finished copy from Orbit. Thank you. I have an e-arc, and I pre-ordered the audiobook because I really like the audiobook for this series. I'm so ready and not ready. It's unreasonable. Okay. And then I was thinking, I like having little mini projects. And so I had 2 to 3 projects that I had let my Patreon vote on. One was reading some stuff on the Goodreads Choice Awards when that gets announced in November, and we'll still discuss it, but I'm not doing what I did last year. I don't have the time or the energy to read that many mediocre books. I'm in too good of a mood to read that many mediocre things. When I was in a bad place last year, sure, why not? But one of them was reading physical arcs that I have. That one almost won, but the one that won was finishing sci-fi series. And I have 3 series that I could finish if I read these 3 books that are also on my physical TBR, which feels win-win-win all the way around. And they're all different types, which I kind of really like too. They're not all the same blend of sci-fi, because you're going to see with my October wrap-up, I had an amazing October, but I read primarily dark fantasy or horror, and I really loved it, but I feel like I need to touch science fiction again. So this also helps me there. One is more adventure, science fiction. This is Fault Tolerance by Valerie Valdez. I have read the first 2 in the Chilling Effect series. They're just really fun. It's not that deep, but it's also not so surface level that you're I don't even care about these people. No, these are fun characters to follow. It's inspired by a lot of loved science fiction, video games, and media. So I like the nod to the things we love. And there are a bunch of cats in this picture, and that's because there are psychic cats, and one of them, Mala, wonder where she is in this picture. Oh, I think she's over here. I'm unsure because I think she's a ragdoll. I could be wrong. Mala's an amazing psychic cat. Like, did you know you needed science fiction with an animal companion? You need to read books 2 and 3 in the Chilling Effect series. It also has, like, family dynamic trust issues that are fun to unpack. Like, basically, if you like cozy serialized TV, I think this scratches like a similar vein. So I would love to probably audiobook this, if I'm being realistic. I need a good audiobook for my commute, and I think this would be good for that. Prime Deceptions, the sequel, was good for that. And then, the book where it's just laughable. This is probably, like, my second priority. Like, if Lotus Empire is like come hell or high water, this is getting read, this is my second. And that's perhaps a start. And a big reason for that is, like, I don't need these on my TBR come December when Winds and Truth drops. No. Perhaps the Stars, the last book in Terra Ignota. And this is also a buddy read that we've been casually doing in the Patreon. This is the longest book in the series by like a country mile. But I'm really excited about it. But this is one of the ones where I just can't do audio only. Everything else I've been reading lately, I have been physically reading, but I've been physically reading, immersion reading, and audio in a book. I've been kind of doing this whole just read one book till it's done method, which is novel / how I used to be. I don't know. Sometimes I'm in a mood where I want one till I'm done, and sometimes I want to read 5 million things at once, and I go where the heart wants. But this book can really only be immersion read or physically read, which means I need to be comfortable. And I have been learning how to be comfortable again, just in sitting or standing or whatever. Like, I got a standing desk now, so now I could immersion read it at the standing desk, things like that. I've talked about Terra Ignota all year. It is 200 years from our now-ish. It's a utopian world on the verge of war. And we discuss how it's utopian. You get to know the world. You get to see what leads up to the conflict. And now this book is like, we've been getting, this is like the fallout. This is like, I think, conflict falling action book. So I'm terrified and excited. And terrified. And intimidated. It's a very heavy book. Like, this doesn't look heavy. But it's like 600 pages and it's this thin. Why? And then the last one is short. And it's more of like a deductive thought experiment sci-fi series. So I think that blends really well with like, epic political science fiction and then adventure science fiction. This is like kind of societal, alien, not alien, but different planets. This is Usurpation by Sue Burke. This is the third book, and I don't even know if like the series has a name. The Semiosis series, apparently. And so the first book is Semiosis. The second book is Interference. They have pictures on the back. And this is the last one. And they're all pretty short. The first book is humans go to this planet and they set up a colony. And you follow generations there and how they exist with the land and how they evolve as a community. It's fascinating. The second book, Interference, is when Earth sends more people to this planet. And what happens when Earth humans and these planets humans, 6 to 7 generations after this happens, commingle. And this one, I think, is the people and things on this planet are going to Earth. I think. Regardless, I've really enjoyed this thought experiment of a series, and I actually started it in November a few years ago. So it feels like November is a good time. It's only 230 pages, so I don't think it'll overstay its welcome, which for me can happen with really long series. Like, for me, this has been so much better than things like Children of Time. Like, I think Children of Time does what Semiosis does with 200 more pages. They're different, but they're similar enough that I'm just like, we don't need to be that verbose. We don't. Okay, and now, the handful of things that might get read. I have 5 other books here. So let's first start with the ones I don't have physically in front of me. We have Warm Hands of Ghosts. I keep saying, I should read this near winter. November is like the verge of winter. I keep saying, no, I don't want this audiobook right now on my Libby over and over and over again. And I should eventually be like, yes, I will take this out. And I think November is the month, potentially. Like, if I've read all my other audiobooks and I need one, I think this is a good contender for an audiobook I get to. It's World War I. Nurse's brother on the front line maybe dies. Unsure. It's gotten really mixed reviews from people who love Catherine Arden's work, so we'll see where I land. That's mostly where I'm at. I'm curious. I'm really curious if it's going to work or aggressively not work for me, especially because historical fantasy isn't like... It's not an anti-buzz theme setting, but it's not like something I grab for. Like, I'm not like itching to be on the front lines of World War II, But we shall see. I'm currently in the middle of it. I paused it last month, And I picked it up again at the tail end of October because I just had some time and I just have it. And so Long Live Evil is something I'm like slowly chipping away at. I think I'm getting a little more invested. We'll see. I read a couple chapters in the past 24 hours and I was just like, okay. I see you. A little. I'm still not like itching for it. It's like one of those things where it's like I listen to the audiobook and I'm like, man, but I could be listening to music right now, which is never like a good sign about my experience with an audiobook, but you know. And then there is like, and this, I was reminded of this because, you know, I'm reading more science fiction. I haven't read a Verkosigan book in a minute, so maybe it's time to get to Kamar. It could happen. It definitely could happen. It's me. Like reading a Verkosigan book, just spur of the moment, could always happen. And then I have 2 books from my physical TBR that were kind of speaking to me. They felt thematically appropriate for some reason. Well, one, it's more just because I bought it and I like reading the things I buy. So that's Wandering Stars by Tommy Orange. I was also just thinking, you know, like variety of genre. I didn't have like a contemporary lit fic on my TBR in a minute, and I thought this could be good. This is the author of There, which I hear is connected to this. But I've also heard that I don't need to like reread There to appreciate this. If I read it and I'm just like, oh my god, I don't know where I'm at, I own There. Maybe I'll read There instead, or put it off till I have time to reread it. But yeah, I got this a couple weeks ago when Ryan and I were doing a nice, oh, it's so pretty outside, we should go walk around somewhere with a bookstore. So we did, and I bought a book. And then this, gosh, how long has this been on my TBR? Woof. I think only a year at least. Maybe a little more than a year and a few months. But this is Into the Light by Mark Oshiro. This is a young adult book by one of my favorite young adult authors. I say that, I only read one book by him, but it's like one of the few young adult books I own. It's actually right here, because I haven't shouted about this book in a while. Each of Us a Desert. Oh my god, I love this book. First of all, this is beautiful. I love this. But yeah, I really love this book. And so when I heard he had another kind of on the darker side or heavier side young adult book, I wanted to read it. And so that's Into the Light. I don't know how speculative leaning horror this might be. It might be horror, it might not be. But I would read it even if it was just contemporary. I would love to see how this goes. So yeah, that's essentially where I'm kind of at. Anything could happen. Anything. Because I am in my free time doing what feels fun. Because that's just where I'm at. I'm at like, I think a good place of like enough work to keep me busy, but then like I want to have a good time. And like, not that any of you truly care, but I'm almost on season 6 of Bones. So I'm sure I'll watch 2 to 3 more seasons of Bones in November. It's what I have on while I grade. It brings me joy. It's also what I have on while I do my physical therapy. Oh my gosh. We just had the episode where they tell Sweets the first case that Booth and Brennan did together. And if you know, it's a lot. It doesn't even matter that I know how it turns out. It doesn't even matter. Anyways, if you just want to leave an emoji to let me know you're here, if you don't want to tell me what you're reading or any of your spoiler-free thoughts on these books, leave a science fiction emoji, because I've decided November is Sci-Fi November. That's what I've decided, just on a whim. And otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.